Hello everyone! Welcome to the Book Nook. Welcome to my little after-school reading club. Let me just get some more music started and we will get to reading. Let's see, this one should do. Alright. Hopefully it's not too loud now. And anyway, today we are reading Animorphs number 3, The Encounter. I read number 1 and 2 earlier, so you probably know what happened, but don't worry, the book does do some recaps of its own, so hopefully we'll all be caught up. Chapter 1. My name is Tobias, a freak of nature, one of a kind. I won't tell you my last name. I can't tell you my last name, or the name of the city where I live. I want to tell you everything, but I can't give clues to my true identity, or the identity of the others. Everything I'll tell you is true. I know it's going to seem unbelievable, but believe it anyway. I am Tobias. I'm a normal kid, I guess, or I used to be. I did okay at school, not great, but not bad either, just okay. I guess I was a dweeb, kind of. Big, but not big enough to keep from getting picked on. I had blonde hair, kinda wild because I could never get it to look right. My eyes were... What color were my eyes? It's only been a few weeks, but I'm already forgetting things about being human. I guess it doesn't matter anyway. My eyes now are golden brown. I have eyes that look fierce and angry all the time. I'm not always fierce and angry, but I look that way. One afternoon I was riding the thermals to swelling hot air. I rode them way up in the sky. The bottoms of the low clouds, heavy with moisture, scudded just a few feet above me. I looked down and focused my laser-like eyes, my fierce eyes. I could still read. I hadn't forgotten how to do that. I could see the big red-white sign that said, Deal and Dan Hawks Used Cars. I pressed my wings back close to my body and began to fall. Down, down, faster and faster. I fell through the warm, early evening air like a rock, like an artillery shell falling towards target. All was silence except for the sound of air rushing over the tops of my wings. The ground came up at me and it came up like it was trying to hit me. I saw the cage. It was no more than 3 feet on each side, and inside the cage was a hawk. A red tail. A red tail, like me. The man was close by. I recognized him when I'd seen him on his TV commercials. He was Dealin' Dan Hawk. He owned a car dealership. He was holding the hawk prisoner. She was a mascot. On the commercials he called her Price Cut Polly, and it made me sick. It made me furious. I saw the camera. There were 3 guys standing around. They'd be shooting a live commercial soon. I didn't care. Jill and Dan went to the hawk's cage to feed her. It was locked with a bike-style combination lock, 4 letters. I could see when he turned the combination, 8125. I was 200 yards up, plummeting to earth at 70 miles an hour, but I could see the numbers as he turned them, and a human part of me, Tobias, could remember. He opened the cage and tossed some food in. Then he closed it and spun the lock. Brilliant lights came on. He was starting a commercial. It'd be live on TV all over the area. What I was planning was insane. That's what Marco would have said. It's one of his favorite words. Insane. I didn't care. A hawk was trapped in a tiny cage being used as a prop for some low-life car dealer. That wasn't going to go on, not if I could help it. And he let out that hawk scream. Good enough. 20 feet from the ground I opened my wings. The strain was terrible. I absorbed most of the momentum and used the rest for speed. I shot across the parked cars to the cage. I landed on the bars and grabbed on my talons. I used the hook of my deadly sharp beak to click the first number into place. Hey, what the? Someone yelled. The bright TV light focused right on me. Well, ladies and gentlemen in TV land, Dylan and Danny, I'm surprised. I guess we have a bird trying to break our Price Cut Polly's cage. Boys, you better shoo him away. Yeah, right. Shoo me, I thought. I clicked the second number. There were people coming for me, and I saw the mechanic swing a long steel wrench, but I wasn't going to leave it out for eating this bird. Hawks don't belong in cages. Hawks belong in the sky. But they are all around me. Get him, Earl! Hit the thing! Look out for that beak of his! Maybe he's got rabies! Wham! The mechanic swung the wrench and it barely missed my head. I was dead if I didn't get help. Fast. Rachel, I cried my mind. Rachel, now would be a good time. Sorry, I missed the first bus. I just got here. Her voice is in my head, and we call it thought speak. It's something we can do when we morph. I breathed a sigh of relief. Help was on the way. And there's that elephant noise. That'll do. Alright. What in the world was? The mechanic cried. I knew what it was. It was Rachel. Pretty blonde Rachel, although right at the moment she wasn't pretty. Impressive, but not pretty. Boom! Crunch. Oh dear lord, Dylan Dan gasped. Forget the bird, there's an elephant stomping on the convertibles. I would have smiled if I had a mouth. I finished turning the locking and yanked the door open. The hawk was wary. She was a true hawk with only a hawk's mind instincts to guide her, but she did know an open path to the sky when she saw one. Out she came in a rush of gray and brown and white feathers. She didn't know what freed her, that kind of concept was beyond her thinking, and she felt no gratitude. But she flapped her wings and rose in the air, free. And right then, I had the strangest feeling like I should go with her, like I should be with her. Can we get out of here now? Rachel asked. She was bellowing loudly, tossing her big trunk around stomping cars, having a good time by elven standards. But it was time to leave, for Rachel to resume her human form. I looked up again. I saw sunlight shine through the hawk's red tail. She fled toward the setting sun. Chapter 2. I hear sirens, I said urgently. I hear them too, Rachel snapped. I have ears the size of quilts. Do you think I can't hear them? I'm morphing back as fast as I can. I hope it's real cops and not controllers. He reached a patch of woods behind Dylan Dan's car dealership. It really was just a few scruffy trees between a car place and convenience store. I watched for a low tree branch as Rachel morphed back. If you've never seen someone morph, you have no idea how weird it is. When she began, she was a full-grown African elephant, 10 feet tall, almost twice that from head to tail. She weighed at least 6,000 pounds. I say at least, it was never exactly stuck around a bathroom scale. She had 2 curved tusks, each as long as a child, and a trunk that dragged the ground she walked and picked up a big, slashing, yelling, dangerously angry Harbinger warrior and tossed him 20 feet. I'd seen her do it. Tobias, you could have at least waited till he's done broadcasting a commercial. Thousands of people saw that. Thousands! Most people figure it was some kind of stunt or trick, I said. Most people, yeah, but not controllers. Any controller watching would guess right away we're not just animals. Controllers, that's a word you need to know. A controller is anyone with a yerk in their head, and yerks are alien parasites, evil little slugs that live in the bodies of our species and enslave them. All the Harbinger are controllers, and so are Taxons. And so are more and more humans. Human controllers. As I watched Rachel begin to shrink, the ropey tail sucked up like a piece of spaghetti. Her trunk grew smaller. Blonde hair sprout from her massive gray forehead. Her eyes wandered across her face toward the middle. The vast leather ears came pink and small and perfectly formed. The ears are gonna ream us big time, aren't they? I said. Oh yeah, I think we can count on that. It was my idea. I'll take the blame. Oh, shut up, Tobias. Stop being noble. Besides, it was fun stomping on those cars. She was small enough now she could stand on her hind legs, and as she did, her front legs grew smooth and human. Her back legs lost their clunkiness, came long, cultish legs. Her morphing clothes, a skin-tight black leotard, emerged. The husk slooped back into her face and divided into sparkling teeth. She was a very pretty girl, beautiful even, except that she still had a 2-foot-long gray nose. At last, that seemed to roll up and become a regular nose. She was a girl again, barefoot because no one figured out how to morph shoes yet. Her mouth was back to normal. She spoke in her normal voice, no longer in my head. Thought speech is only for morphs. Okay, I'm back. Let's bail. The siren sounds are coming closer. Head for a convenience store. I'll go up and look around. Hope they have some flip-flops there, Rachel grumbled. This shoe situation's a pain. The elephant was gone, the girl had emerged. See, I told you it's hard to believe. It all began at a deserted construction site where we found the crashed ship of an Andalite prince. He was the last surviving Andalite in our solar system. He and his fellow Andalites fought a great battle to drive away the Yerk mothership, which they fought and lost. And now the Yerks are among us. They're trying to enslave the human race. Before he died at the hands of the Yerk leader, a terrible creature called Visor Free, the Andalite gave us a great gift and a great curse. The gift was the power to morph, to absorb DNA of any animal and become that animal. Never before had anyone but the Andalites themselves been given this power. It meant a life of secrets and terrible danger. The Yerks think we're a small band of escaped Andalites. They know that Morphs attacked their pool. They know that Morphs infiltrate a home while they're importing controllers, Chapman. But they don't know that we're just 5 normal kids who've been walking home from the mall one night. Visor Free wants his collar dead. He usually gets what he wants, but I'm glad to fight the Yerks. Maybe it's just less to lose than the others, and maybe something about the lonely, defeated but courageous prince touched me so deeply that I could never regret fighting to settle the score. But there had been a price to pay. You see, there's a limit on the power to morph. You must never remain a morph for more than 2 hours, and if you do, you're trapped. Forever. That is the curse of the Andalite's gift, and that's why Rachel returned to her human body. I didn't. It would take her a while to get home on the bus. I traveled faster, so I had time to waste. The sun was setting, and in my mind I could still picture the freed hawk heading into the sun. Oh, she found a nice patch of forest to spend the night. That's what a red-tailed likes. A nice tree branch with a clear view of a meadow full of little mice and rats and shrews and voles they scurry below. That's how they hunt. I head toward the tall buildings of downtown. I caught a beautiful thermal that billowed up the faces of some skyscrapers. A thermal is a big bubble of warm air. It rises beneath your wings and makes it effortless to go soaring up and up. I caught the thermal when shooting up the side of a skyscraper that I was riding like I was riding an elevator. A lot of offices are empty since it was Saturday, but on the 60th floor I saw an old man looking out the window. Maybe he was some big important businessman, I don't know. But when he saw me, he smiled. He watched me soar up and away, and I knew he was jealous. I was half a mile up when I finally turned away from the sun and headed toward Rachel's house. The sun was going down, the moon just peeked over the rim of the world. Then I felt... I don't know how to describe it. It was in the air above me. Huge. Vast. Bigger than any jet. I looked up, but nothing was there. And yet I felt it in my heart. I knew it was up there, coming toward me perhaps a mile higher. I focused all my power of my hawk eyes in the sky. A ripple. That's what it was, a ripple. Like a ripple you made throwing a stone in a calm pond. The faint twilight stars flickered as it passed by. The sun's light bent, and for just a second I was sure I could see something, but no, it was gone. As if it had never been there. I tried to follow the hole in the sky, but it was moving too fast. I tried to see which way it was going and where it had come from, but it seemed to be moving away from the mountains and picking up speed. I lost it over the suburbs as it accelerated away. I flew on to Rachel's house and watched she got off the bus far above me. The others, Jake, Marco, and Cassie, were all up in her room waiting for us. I wasn't surprised. Hey, Rachel, I said, floating above her. She could only wave. You can hear thoughts speak when you're human, but you can't make thoughts speech yourself. I predict Marco's first words will be, "Are you insane?" She gave a little wink. Rachel went to the front door. I flew in an open window, and there we were all together, the 5 of us, the Animorphs. The other 3 must have been in a commercial or not all happy. Marco started a conversation. "Are you insane?" he said. Chapter 3. Marco yelled for a while. Jake made us promise never to do anything that stupid again, and Cassie, being Cassie, got everyone made up and be friends again. We aren't supposed to be rescuing animals, Marco said. We're supposed to be rescuing the entire human race from being enslaved by Yeerks. I thought you didn't want to save the world, Marco. He scowled at me, but there's no point in scowling. With my face, I can out-scowl anyone. You're right, but since you all guys think you have to save the world, and since you're all my friends, more or less, I figure someone has to keep you from being total idiots. Marco's the most reluctant of the Animorphs, although he's actually the one who came up with the word. He's been with us from the start. He just thinks we should look out for ourselves and our own families. Marco and I will probably never be close. He's a typical smart-aleck kind of guy, always confident, always has some funny or sarcastic thing to say. He's short, or at least not very tall. I guess girls think he's cute because he has this long brown hair and dark eyes. Jake grinned at Marco. "So you're the one who has to rescue us from being idiots? If Marco's the responsible one, we're all in trouble," Rachel said. Everyone laughed. Jake gave Marco an affectionate punch on the shoulder. "Just the same, it's nice you want to save us all. It's almost sweet." He made a face and grabbed one of Rachel's pillows to throw at him. They're complete opposites, though they've been buds forever. Jake is big, not football player big, but solid. He's one of those people who are natural leaders. If you're trapped in a building, you'd turn to him and ask, "What do we do?" And he'd have an answer. You can tell he and Rachel are cousins. They're both kinda determined people. "I have to get going," Cassie said. "I have horses to feed and bird cages to clean." "Don't say the word cage around Tobias," Marco said. "He'll do some guerrilla commando ninja SWAT team Hawk from Hell attack in the center. He'll talk Rachel into stomping your house flat." Everyone laughed, because we all knew why Cassie had bird cages. Her father and mother are both veterinarians. Her mom works for the Garden, which is a huge zoo and amusement park. Her dad runs the Wildlife Rehabilitation Center in the barn on their family farm. The center takes in wild animals that are hurt and sick and cares for them. The cages Cassie has to get home to clean are filled with sparrows with broken wings and eagles who are shot and seagulls who got tangled in trash. Cassie's our expert in animals. She gives us access to animals to morph. She's a gentle person, but she can also morph better than any of us. Everyone stood and started to go. "You coming, Tobias?" "Nah, not already. I think I'll fly around. It's a nice night." "Cool. I'll put some food up in your attic in case you get home late. I don't want anything getting at it, though. Can you open one of those Rubbermaid things?" I saw the way he kind of looked away when he mentioned the attic. They felt bad for me. "I can get open," I said. "Just be careful. You know, Tom." Tom is Jake's big brother. And one of them. Everyone said goodnight. I saw Cassie and Jake touch their hands in a way that almost could have been accidental. And then they're all gone. All but me and Rachel. "I don't like thinking of you living in that cold attic," Rachel said. "I'm okay," I said. "I wonder if I should tell her what I'd seen, the darkness within darkness, the hole in the sky." But the truth was, even I didn't know what it was. It would just worry her, and she worried about me too much. "Good night," I said. "Yeah, take care of yourself, Tobias." I flew out for her window in the night. Rachel's sad eyes seemed to follow me. I hated the way they all felt sorry for me. All I could see was I'm not how I used to be. All I could see is that I had no home. But they didn't really understand. I hadn't had a home since my parents died. I was used to being alone. And I had the sky. Chapter 4. The next day I decided to go back to where I'd seen, or not seen, the big thing in the sky. I had a feeling about it. A bad feeling. I flew over the same area, rising as high as I could in the thermals. Hawks are not quite as good at soaring as eagles and some buzzards are, and you should see the way a turkey buzzard can ride those thermals. It's awesome. And actually, the red-tailed hawk in my head would be just happy to perch patiently on the branch of a tree waiting to see its next meal go scurrying past. But I didn't eat like a hawk. I ate the food Jake gave me. I didn't hunt, although sometimes the urge is pretty strong. I could just hear Marker make some smart crack about me eating mice or roadkill. When you're in a morph, it's hard to resist the animal's instincts. Jake found that out when he became a lizard. He glomped down a live spider but got control of the lizard's instincts. I hadn't done that. I was afraid if I did start, I wouldn't be able to stop. I soared high over the city, over the area I'd been through the day before, but nothing. Nothing moved in the air above me. And it occurred to me, whatever it was, maybe it only happened at certain times of day. It had been almost sunset when I felt its presence last. I decided to come back then, which meant I had a whole day ahead with nothing special to do, and this didn't make me happy. You see, a hawk spends almost all of its time hunting food. As for me, Tobias, when I hadn't been at school, I spent most of my time watching TV, hanging out at the mall, doing homework, reading. All those things are difficult for me to do now. I miss school. Even though I have constantly been picked on by bullies. I didn't miss my home though. See, when my parents died, there was no one who really wanted me. I ended up getting shunted back and forth between an uncle here and an aunt across the country. Neither of them really cared. I don't think they even missed me. I'd arranged for Jake to leave a message to my uncle. We told him I'd gone to stay with my aunt. Each of them, my uncle and aunt, thought I was staying with the other. I had no idea how long that would last for one of them figured out I wasn't in either place. I guess when I realized that they'll call the cops and report me as a runaway. Or maybe they won't even bother. So, what was I going to do with my day? I've been floating up here in the high air just below the clouds for a couple hours. It's time to give up and try again another time. I tilted my wings and adjusted my tail to turn toward Rachel's house. Maybe she'd be hanging around a house bored. And then it happened. A mile or so above, the ripple passed through the air. An emptiness, a hole where no hole could be. I reacted instantly and had to get closer. I flat to my chest and shoulders were sore, but it was moving too fast and too high. It pulled away from me, a wave of air rippling a fabric in the sky. It moved in a different direction though, it was moving toward the mountains. And then, a flight of geese on the move in a tight V formation. There are maybe a dozen big determined geese moving along at an amazing rate, powering through the air like they always do. Geese always seem to be on a mission, like, get out of our way, we're geese and we're coming through. The geese are aimed right after the disturbance, and suddenly, the leading goose folded like it got hit by a truck. Its wings collapsed, but it didn't fall. The crippled goose slid through the air, sliding horizontally, rolling and flopping like it was passing over the top of a racing train. Most of the others suffered the exact same fate. One or two peeled away, but geese are not very agile. The invisible wave smacked into flight and the geese were crushed. They were rolling and sliding on some unseen but solid surface, and everywhere the geese hit I could catch little glimpses of gray steel metal. The wave passed by. The geese fell in its wake, dead or crippled. It flew on, unconcerned, but then, why would the Yerks care about a handful of geese? And that's what they were, I was certain now, Yerks. What I'd seen, or not quite seen, was a Yerk ship. I do like that they did maintain a little mystery there for a couple chapters. He just described it as a disturbance in the sky, some ripple, some unseen thing, and honestly it gave me very eldritch sort of vibes, kind of Lovecraftian sort of things. Like there's no telling what it is. But now we know. It takes a little mystery away, but it's still no less alarming, that's for sure. Chapter 5. It figures, Margaret said thoughtfully, the Yerks have some kind of cloaking technology, like stealth technology, but better. We were all at Cassie's barn. Her dad was away for the afternoon. It's one of the few places I can go and not look out of place. It's a regular old-fashioned barn, but rows of clean cages and fluorescent lights. There are partitions keeping the birds away from horses, and more keeping the raccoons and opossums and occasional coyote away from the skittish horses. The floor of the barn is usually strewn with hoses and buckets and hay. There are charts on each cage showing the condition of the animal and what treatment it's getting. It's usually pretty noisy, with various birds chewing and cooing and chirping, horses snuffling, and raccoons fussing. I looked over a little nervously a pair of wolves, one male and female. One had been shot in the air, ate poison left out by a farmer. Wolves are new in the area. Wildlife experts have brought some back to a nearby forest. Wolves made hawks a little edgy. We're always able to see Yerk ships, Rachel pointed out. We saw bug fires in the blade ship. She leaned against the cage of us housing an injured mourning dove. The dove was watching me suspiciously. Yeah, but every Yerk ship we ever dealt with is either on the ground or about to land, Jake said. Maybe it doesn't work when they're close to the ground, but if you think about it, Marco's right. They have to be able to avoid being picked up by radar. Maybe they have the ability to avoid being seen. It was a Yerk ship, I said flatly. How can you be so sure, Cassie asked. She was working as we talked, cleaning an empty cage with a brush and a bucket of sudsy water. It just was. I just got a feeling bad. Also, it seemed huge, bigger than the biggest jet. This was huge, more like a real ship, you know, like an ocean liner. The question was, what do we do about it, Jake asked. Of course, he already made up his mind to do something, but he doesn't like to act like the one in charge, even if that's how I think of him. He lets everyone have their say. I want to find out what it's doing, I said. The first time I had a feeling it was heading away from the mountains. Second time, it was doing the opposite. It's flying too low to make it over the mountains, so I'm guessing it's doing something in the mountains. Rachel nodded. That makes sense. And Marco rolled his eyes. The mountains? Have you suburban dwellers ever been to the mountains? We're talking about a large area. No matter how big this thing is, it could hide in 1,000 places. Then we better start looking right away, Rachel said brightly. Jake looked at Cassie. Cass, what do you think? She shrugged. I halfway feel like we've done enough, you know? We attacked the Yerk pool. We barely got out alive. We betrayed Chapman's house and Rachel got captured. And we barely got out alive. I guess the question is, how many risks are we going to take? How many times are we going to barely escape? I could see Marco's surprise, and suddenly sounded like Cassie was on his side. Exactly, just what I've been saying. Why is it our job to get killed? But then Cassie went and blew it all for him. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I can't just do nothing while people are being enslaved by the Yerks. Maybe it's just me, she shrugged. The thing is, I have these powers. She shrugged again. I can't just do nothing. Look, these aren't people we know, Marco argued. They aren't my friends or my family. He shot a guilty look at Jake. And we did everything we could for Tom, so why should I get killed for strangers? We can't stay lucky forever. Don't you understand that? Sooner or later we'll slip up. Sooner or later we'll be standing around here crying because Jake or Rachel or Cassie or Tobias is gone. You know something? Rachel exploded. I'm tired of having to talk you into this, Marco. You want out? Fine, you're out. Hey Rachel, you're not just doing this to save the human race, Marco shot back. You get off on the danger. That's why I went to buy free that bird. It's not about saving the world. That was about rescuing some stupid bird. He realized he'd gone too far and he fell silent. The others looked guiltily at me and Rachel shot Marco a look of pure anger. As of right now, I said. As of today, the only one of us has been hurt. Me. But I'm not gonna give up. I'm not anyone's leader. But what I am going to do is go to the mountains tomorrow morning. What the rest of you do is your own business. I'll be with you, Rachel said instantly. Cassie nodded. Jake gave us some wary smile. You say you're not the leader, but I'll go with you. Marco shook his head. No. Your choice, Rachel said. That's not what I meant, Marco said angrily. I meant no, not in the morning. Tomorrow's a school day. If all of us skip school on the same day and layer some trouble with the Yerks, don't you think Chapman might put 2 and 2 together? Jake raised an eyebrow. Marco's right. After school. He looked in the ears and nodded. It bothered me Marco was right, but he was. Marco's a pain in the butt, but he's a very smart guy. It worried me a little. It made me wonder, was he right about other things as well? How many risks could we take before we got lost? How long until 5 of us were 4? Or 2? Or none?